I'm really excited to talk about these sections because truly some of this is like the work of my lifetime. Like there's some things that you just like you learn about deeper and deeper as you go on in life. I feel like some of this stuff is the stuff that I have just dealt with my entire life. And it really, I hate that, but that's just the truth. That's just the truth. So, chapter nine, being that life isn't fair. We're all brought into this world with different things, right? Like we all have different circumstances, and that's just the way life is. Like for some reason in our society, we seem to think that life should be fair and that life should be good and life should be, you know, not painful. And it's just not true. Some people have it worse off than others, and some people are better off. Like they didn't do anything to deserve it or not deserve it, right? We're just born into different circumstances, and life is not fair. And the truth is that we can be looking for evidence that we're not good enough or that our circumstances are worse or better off, right? And we will find it. Like you find what you're looking for, you find evidence for what you're looking for. Um, so often we're failing because of this chronic habit of comparing ourselves. But we're all dealt different hands. And I love the part when she says, if you cannot change it in the next 30 seconds, or start to change it in the next 30 seconds, then it's never going to change. I'm never going to be a tall blonde that is beautifully tanned. That's never going to happen to me. I can want for the rest of my life to be beautifully tan, and I will never be. I don't know if I've told this story, but I think it's hilarious. I used to work at a tanning salon in high school as a pale redhead, and so I got to tan for free in these tanning beds, and I worked my way up to the fullest amount of time. And I knew it was terrible for my skin, but I still didn't do it because I desperately wanted to be tan. And I still was this like shade of red. Like I'm never going to be tan even on my best days, right? So if I can't fix this in 30 seconds, there's no point, right? We should just live with what we've got and realize that we can compare up, which is what we normally do. I love that. We're always like, oh, well, they have this better, instead of comparing downward and realizing how much better we have it than most people, right? Like we have so many things going for us and we're still unhappy. That is a hard pill to swallow. Like we have sometimes having more does not help us because it's not making us happier. So it's learning to be kind of content where we are. So that this might, yeah. So types of comparison, comparison can be torture or it can be a teacher. And the torture is when we are beating ourselves up, trying to make ourselves something that we're not. So page 133, it's true. A lot of people have been dealt luckier or more successful hand of cards. Let them. They're going to achieve things faster. They have a leg up. They have more resources. They have more support. There's nothing you can do to change it. It's a fact. Let them. Um, because worrying about it or making yourself feel bad is an insult to your intelligence. You can figure out how to win. You can learn how to work with what you've got and start where you are and create anything you want in your life. But you will never do that if you give all your power to this stupid, toxic habit of comparing yourself to other people. Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. I wish it were that easy, right? Just stop it. It is work. It is work. Um, so we're reading about it being torture. Oh, something that I had this thought too as I was reading this at the end of page 137. It's impossible to enjoy your life or love yourself and beat yourself up at the same time. So like if we could shame ourselves to wellness or shame ourselves to health or to being our best selves, I think we probably would have done it by now. Like it doesn't work. But we think if we could just think badly about ourselves enough or compare ourselves enough that that's going to help, but it's not working. And we should on ourselves. That's one of my favorite phrases that Brene Brown uses from someone else. I can't remember who she attributes it to someone else, but like we're often running around here shoulding on ourselves, and I just think it's funny little pun, not to should on ourselves. So that's what I have for chapter 9. Does anybody have anything they want to add? Any stories or anything before I move on to how comparison is our teacher? Anybody? Anybody? Anything that you were like, this from this chapter? I think it's pretty.
Sunny,
Yes, ma'am.
um, on page 133, I highlighted the part where it says, winning the game of life requires you to focus on the cards you have and
Mm,
choosing what to do with them. That really resonated with me. And
hmm.
I felt that this whole section to me was echoing the serenity prayer.
Absolutely.
Um, Someone close to me is um, in recovery,
Yes, ma'am.
addiction recovery.
Yeah.
And I've been to several meetings with this person,
Hmm.
and they always open with the serenity prayer.
Yeah.
And the longer I've been exposed to that program, it's been amazing to me how much that prayer comes up, how much it
Yes.
really focuses life.
Yeah. Mhm.
That, we just have to accept, have the courage to accept the things we cannot change,
And the
or
wisdom to
the
know the difference.
serenity. I'm
Yes.
sorry, yes, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yes. Hmm.
So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, there's just so much wisdom in the 12 step community.
Hmm.
And I gleaned a lot of it just from being codependent and learning
Hmm.
how to let go. Codependent No More is one of my favorite books, and it, of course, follows very closely along the same lines as the 12 step. And there's another one while I'm thinking about it. Um, oh shoot, where did I hide it? I'll find it later and send it to you guys, but it's a daily app that has kind of very similar sort of letting go and being where you are and empowering yourself. I'll find it. I'll find it in a minute. Put myself on the spot and now I can't find it on my millions of pages of apps on my phone. What is it called? Anyway, so thank you so much for sharing that, Angie. You're exactly right. This like letting ourselves be where we are and growing forward. Literally like sometimes I think we think of recovery or like being successful as like an overnight success. Like we look at other people and we're like, overnight success. Like, how is this so easy for them? But like the truth is, like, we're walking our journey one step at a time, and so were they. Like,
Hmm.
we don't know what they're dealing with. Like, we don't know what path they're on, but they're doing it sometimes seconds at a time. Like, it's those small choices, sections at a time. That's what recovery looks like. That's what success looks like, is a day by day kind of struggle to stay in your lane
Hmm.
and to know what's yours and what's not yours. So, yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Well, yeah, and the other thing that resonated recovery for me was in the middle of page 137, where it
Hmm.
says psychologists will tell you that the root cause of many disorders is an obsessive need for control.
Hmm.
And that's what
Hmm.
this person in my life, one thing that he has learned is that addicts are selfish and self-centered,
Hmm. Aren't we
and
all?
they're not willing to, they can't, they struggle with that,
Hmm.
accepting what they can't change, and
Yeah,
that they're trying to control things.
right.
So that resonated for me.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. So that's like the torture side of things when we're using comparison to torture us, torture ourselves. But we can use comparison as a teacher. And man, this chapter, it's one of the ugliest parts of myself that I just like really hate about myself is this like sense of comparison and like looking at what somebody does and being like, I could have done that. Why I could do that and I could do that better than they're doing it. Why do they get to do this and be so good at this thing when this is my thing? Like, and the answer is it's because they're doing it, right? Like they made the choice to show up and do it. And man, I resonated so much with her friend Molly, who was like mad at this interior design person who just came out of nowhere and is not a professional and they're just doing it. And something that like really lights a fire under me is like there is someone out there living your dream life. There's someone out there less qualified than you living your dream life. because they decided to show up and go for it, to show up and do it. They're less qualified and they're doing it. So why can't you? Like, I think in this business, I think we get kind of caught up looking at how people are doing things, and we're like, but it's so easy for them, or man, if I could just be more like this person, instead of just letting it be our teacher and looking at their success and going, okay, what can I glean from that? Like, we don't have to put ourselves in this shame spiral of comparison, and it can be a teacher to motivate us. I love when she talks about it being a mirror of like looking at what our desires are and what we can actually accomplish. I appreciate that. Um, she said, if someone achieved what I wanted, I told myself that they had beat me to it. I looked at people around me and saw other people's wins as my losses. And when you see other people's wins as your losses, it will make you feel defeated before you even start. Something I love about Plexus is that we are always coaching that we're one Plexus, right? And that we all work together, and rising tide, like we all row in the same direction, rising tide. Like, I love that we talk about that. So this doesn't seem for me to be a huge issue in seeing other people's wins as my loss, because it's also my win, right? But I think that can be a problem in this industry, but thankfully it's not been for us, I feel like. But she says, if you're not careful, comparison can become the reason why you doubt yourself, procrastinate, continue to stay stuck. You're capable of achieving the same success, but instead of working to create it, you're actively arguing against what you want. This is an example of how you've turned other people into a problem, and they don't need to be. There's enough happiness, success, and money to go around. Absolutely everyone, including you. It is in limitless supply. No one else's wins are your losses. And I wish that I did not have that tendency to get to turn and be jealous, to turn and be like, ah, oh, they did the thing I've been wanting to do. It means I can't do it anymore. I'm like, that's dumb. That's so dumb. Why do I do that to myself? I don't know, but I do. And it's hard to read this section because I'm like, this is the work of my lifetime. Jealousy is an invitation from your future self. It's inviting you to look more closely at someone else, not to make you feel inferior, but to show you what is possible. So like anytime I'm at a social work conference, it's like I've been in the desert and I'm getting a fresh drink of water. Like I'm like seeing all these people do all these awesome things, and I could look around and be like, oh well, I've missed the boat. I'm not doing this. Or I can look at it like, this is what lights me up. This is what I need to be doing more of, right? Instead of looking around in comparison, I can use it as a teacher. Let's see, what else did I write down? People are showing us the formula to success. And I love that about our One Plexus culture. Like they are showing us exactly what to do. And for some reason, some of us still sit on the sidelines and go, well, I can't do what they do. Wrong. We can, and we have, and we will. And there's no reason why we can't all. So flip your jealousy to inspiration. See what's possible through their example. The people you compare yourself to act as mirrors reflecting back bigger possibilities, or in Molly's case, the formula and the work that she was avoiding. And that's what I said to Molly. Let them lead the way. So look at it, realize what's possible, and move forward. Um, Instead of procrastinating and avoiding what you need to do. This is what you need to do, but there's something holding you back, and it's usually comparison. That anger that's burning up inside you is you being mad at yourself because you could have gotten to work sooner, and you're capable of figuring this out. You just didn't. This was me in the speaking business, is why I say this kind of comparison is your greatest teacher. Um, Not because it shows you what you need to be doing, but because it galvanizes your power and awakens your anger. I don't love the idea of working from anger, but I do love the idea that anger and pain is a motivator. That was a big part for me. Like sometimes we have to have a pain point. We have to like look around and be like, this sucks. I don't like where I'm at. Like I don't like how this feels. I don't like where my business is going. So that like makes us lights a fire under us. Otherwise, we kind of get complacent, right? And we're just like, oh, here we are. This is just the way things are. I don't know if that resonates with any of you guys, or what your thoughts were from this chapter.
Oh,
But
this chapter stepped all over my toes.
oh, I'm so glad I wasn't alone, Angie.
Oh, yes, all over my toes.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, not good, but thank you. Oh man. When you focus on how unfair life seems and compare yourself to others, you waste your precious time and energy on things beyond your control. You let others' success paralyze you, leaving you stuck and feeling behind and frustrated. And this mindset fuels procrastination and perfectionism and prevents you from taking action to create your own success. Oh man, the truth is, there's always someone luckier. There's always someone further along. There's always someone with more quick access than you. In my brain, there's always someone that's signing up 15 people while you're struggling to sign up 3 a month. Always. There's always going to be someone that makes recruiting look like the easiest thing they've ever done in their life. At least that's for me. Recruiting has never been something that I'm like so fast and quick and easy at. But I can also compare up and I can compare down, right? Like I can compare up and be like, I'm not good at that. Or I can say, I've actually maintained a team for a really long time and I'm really good with sticking power. And when I recruit somebody, they stay, like there's different ways to grow in this business and it all looks different. We're all walking different journeys, right? Like you can be a fast recruiter and then lose all the people, or you can recruit a few and hang on to them for years. It's going to look different, but I can look left and right and compare all day long. And I have certainly been one to do it. So the solution is just to let them stop torturing yourself. Let them do their thing and you do yours. Like living in your power, in your values, and working from your strengths is so empowering. Just to let them walk their own journey and put your blinders on and do your thing. But we instead like to torture ourselves. At least I do. Okay, so that is 9 and 10. Anything else from 10 before I move on? So we're halfway through the book and we're moving into the relationship side of things. And this is where I feel like is it gets really relevant. It gets really relevant for this business, especially the like making friends part and maintaining friends. So nothing else from 10? No? Okay, so 11. So mastering adult friendships. Man, this was eye-opening for me. I'm kind of in that stage where I'm like, do I have friends? I mean, Plexus, I feel like helps in this because we are kind of rowing on the same direction. I feel like sometimes all the friends that I have are Plexus people, and I've had to really work to have people that aren't in Plexus, and I'm proud of those friendships because it's been hard. This makes sense, like the three pillars of friendship: proximity, timing, and energy. Like, oh, that made so much sense. Like, we didn't, this whole adult friendships are hard. Where did all my friends go? The 20s changes from a group sport to an individual sport. Oh, that made so much sense. Like, I had not thought about the great scattering, but like, Plexus kind of helps us in that way. Um, so like we're all kind of consolidated together, we're in proximity, kind of have the same energy, and yes, timing. So it's not all personal, but I have felt that at times, like, where did all my people go? I'm like, why don't they want to do things with me? And I'm like, well, it's because Sonny, you're not investing in them. You're not doing the things, like you're not reaching out. I'm like, they may be in my head, but I'm not talking to them or investing in those relationships, and that's on me, right? Like that's it's a big deal. So, um, let me see if I have anything underlined from that chapter. I feel like that one was a pretty short one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I do like that she talks about how there's certain seasons where it's okay for people to be in your life for just that season. And it's not something to take personally. We just move on, right? And yeah, and that's okay. It can be just all right. Um, they don't have to be your enemy. Okay, anything that you guys wanted to add from that chapter? We're running out of time, so I'm trying to go quickly. So chapter 12, why some friendships naturally fade. Um, let's see. Proximity. So they were right next door. She was jealous of her friends, but they were right next door, right? Like we were doing things together already. So of course it seems simple. But man, I love how she gives real life embarrassing personal examples of a lack of emotional intelligence. She's like, I just didn't know how to handle this. Like admitting it. I'm like, how many times have I had kind of similar emotional feelings and acted out on those and didn't and felt really bad afterward. Like I appreciate her realness here. So Let them, let's see, they require flexibility. Relationships do. It's not personal. Let them, it helps to be flexible and compassionate. Allow people to come and go. Let me will remind you to stop sitting around expecting invitations or assuming ill intent. It'll motivate you to take the lead, to reach out, or I can't read my own writing. Something self out to create new ones. Oh, put yourself out there to create new friends. New people are coming. I thought that was so nice to think about some of my very best friends in my life. The thought that I'm gonna have more of them. Like there are more people out there just like waiting for us to connect with them. There are more people that are gonna be on our teams that they're just waiting. Like they're gonna be out there. That's exciting. That's fun. Like we have new teammates that we're gonna have great times with soon. Like we just have to put ourselves out there. The pillars are, if there's an issue with your friendship, to like look back and be like, are my pillars off here? So before you walk away, make sure you're checking in on those, and not assuming kind of ill intent and just letting the relationship crash and burn. I know, like with some of my friends from college, that's been the case. Man, when she talked about the text message, group message that is just like fading, like there's less and less and less messages. I'm like, that's so real. That has definitely happened to me. Um, okay. Anything from that chapter? Because I think chapter 13, there's some good stuff for our business in there. Anybody? Nope. Okay, so 13, how to create the best friendships of your life. I think this is important stuff for when we are getting to know new people, from when we're trying to create friendships, not just people who want to order from our business. People can feel that, y'all. They can feel it when you come in and you're just doing this to get some like new business, right? They feel it. It is an energy thing. And so when we go into relationships truly trying to build friendships, that's so much more genuine, and you're going to have much better success in your business if we turn off that business mode and turn on friendship mode and a genuineness. They can feel it. Man, I will never forget the time I had a therapist. I was in one of my internships and he wanted to take me out to lunch. And I was like, oh, a mentor. This is awesome. I want to learn from this guy. And he paid for my lunch. I'm like, that's so kind. I'm a young intern. I'm like, he's got money. Of course, yeah, that's kind, professional thing to do. At the end of it, he wanted to talk to me about his business, and he thought I would be a good leader in his business, and wanted me to sell his business. And I was crushed. I was crushed because here I was thinking he was taking a genuine interest in me, and it was just about his business. I felt like blindsided, and having been in this business for 10 years, like I have never forgotten that, and I never want to forget how that made me feel. So I want to be meeting new people in genuine ways. So I love that this list she gives, like compliment people everywhere you go. Be curious, ask questions, smile and say hello to anyone and everyone you pass or meet. And do this without expectation. The warmth you give always finds a way back to you. It's hard, but so is being lonely. Like we have to choose our hard. It's really hard to be lonely, but we want to um meet people in these. So what did she say? Give it a year. Oh, give it a year. Like reach out, right? Give it a year doing these things, 100 little awkward moments. But it builds up to true relationship and true kind of community. It is so awkward. Like I started working out this new gym and getting to know people I don't know. I don't have any circles with. It's been awkward, but important, right? And that's how I have kind of created and met new friends and eventually got a customer from the deal, but just because of genuine conversation and getting to know her for a long time. So, creating community anywhere. Look for events and group classes that interest you. When you click with someone, take it out of that class, like do something else. As you meet more people, look for events that are interesting and reach out to people you've been hanging out with to see if anyone wants to go as a group. Um, and then 187 is just kind of the summary. Um, I love she tells a story about meeting Mia and being so awkward and her daughter having to drag her, which is funny because she was the one encouraging her daughter to stick with it. Um, so yeah, so the problem was the great scattering. It happened and we didn't realize it. We were expecting to be included and we haven't been because life changes, right? So the expectation has led to feelings of disconnection, isolation, uncertainty in approaching new and existing relationships. And the truth is there are these three pillars: proximity, timing, energy. It's our responsibility to understand them and adopt this flexible mentality and approach to friendships. You have so much power in your relationships, and some of your most favorite people are just waiting for you to go first. And the solution, using the let them theory, start creating connections without expectations. You go first, you put yourself out there, start saying hello to people around you and building that feeling of community wherever you go. Yeah. Oh, Christy, are you where you can share about how you've moved to a new place?
Yeah, I actually am just about to park. So I just made it home.
Perfect.
Um, and Angie knows this because we've been doing lots of book clubs for a while, but others may not. But I have moved 6 times in 7 years, and I can almost speak to every instance that she shared about making new friends. So when we moved to Fort Lauderdale and Andrew was in kindergarten and I was, at pickup and making friends that way. And it is easy. It's like she talked about her neighbors. Like, even though I was new, a mom might say, "Hey, are you going to the Easter egg hunt this weekend?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what it is." And she's like, "Oh, the community does this thing, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I would go. And so that is pretty easy. But when you get to, now I'm 51 and I'm homeschooling my youngest and the rest are done, so I don't have sports or anything. Um, it is hard, and you do truly have to make a pretty big effort. And so I've been here 11 months and not really made any friends besides people that live on my street. And this kind of goes back to the anger from the comparison thing that she was mentioning. But I'm like, I was sick and tired of not knowing anybody. I'm sick and tired of not having friends. I'm sick and tired of not having anything new to talk to my husband about because I don't leave my house except for to go to the gym where I don't talk to anybody.
Mm.
So, you know, I just through Facebook, found a leading ladies networking group of Northern Kentucky and, kind of shared on Facebook last week, like, okay, I'm putting myself out there again. But I went to this networking event and similar to what she shared, like I did take, the moments, it was speed networking. So it was pretty quick. So I would quickly share what I did. But then, you're supposed to end with an ask. And my ask every time was like, I'm really just new here. And I'm looking for a community that I fit in with. I'm looking for other female friends who support each other, who lift others, who are striving for, and that's what I'm looking for. So if you know of other networking events or if you know of gatherings, that's really where I am right now. And so just kind of putting myself out there, and it's kind of like waving my white flag and being like, will you be my friend? But at 51, with no reason to leave my house except for groceries, like you actually have to. You have to go and like try to find people who you have common interests with. And it does take time. I did it the last time we moved and built a really great community, but I did it through networking events, women's networking events. And that's kind of has taken the place of like after school chats or side of the soccer field chats, or because it depends on what phase of life that you're in. I just happen to be in the one where I gotta do my hair and put clothes on and go ask, get around people. And we are humans, so some people were immediately going to be like, she might be fun to go to lunch with, and some people you're going to be like, next, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
crazy.
okay, because also we only have enough time and energy in our life for so many people, which is where this great scattering comes from. Like, whether when you're empty nesters all of a sudden you do have more time, When you're chasing littles, you don't have time. Like you might text a friend and be like, I was just thinking of you. How are you? And they text you back and it's 3 days before you even respond, right? Because you're covered up in poop and pull-ups.
So
So,
oops and
you
pulls.
know, so much poop and pull-ups, right? So just being aware of where you are and deciding, hey, is this good for me? Because some people really, they don't want to make friends.
Mhm.
I do. I don't like the effort of making friends, but I really do love people.
Yeah.
Like I leave Plexus events so high on life because I'm like, I feel like I'm seeing all of my friends.
Mm.
Like so many hugs and so many hellos and so many, like I leave a Plexus events, I'm like, I love this,
Mhm.
you know? And
Yeah.
then when you come home and you got nobody around, like it's hard to be excited and, so that's kind of my story. I'm trying it again. So stay tuned. I got a whole new town to make friends with. And I will say, when I did it on our last move, it took about 3 months before of going to events about twice a week or once a week at least. And by about month 3, I started signing people. And I ended that year with 54 new level ones. I would walk into events and people would say, hey, if you want to feel better, you need to talk to Christy.
I love it.
And so I know what it can do for my business, but also going in like just looking for friends
Hmm.
because those do become the best customers sometimes.
Yep. It's true. It's
So
true. Oh, thanks for sharing. I saw your post the other day. I'm like,
thanks.
she's
I
doing the
know.
lesson theory. She is
I
out
am.
there doing the things.
And
That's
it's scary, but you
awesome.
got to do it.
Yeah, I have I recently realized, having done this for 10 years, that if I'm going to keep growing this business thing, I'm going to have to meet some new people. And for some reason, like I'm kind of in this like ick place with social media, like, and not that I don't still use it or enjoy it or, whatever, but I want to start making more connections with people in real life. That feels good to me. And it takes more work than just making a quick comment on social media. And I think, I don't know, I feel like this shift is happening and I want to meet more people in real life. But I have built my business primarily from social media. Like that's where you meet a lot of people. It's just
Mhm.
true. And you can still make genuine connections there too, but I am craving that in-person community a little bit more. All right, y'all, we're 10 minutes past. I hate that. So hop off and go get on the other call. But we'll see you guys not next week because of the cruise, but the week after that. So don't forget, don't hang out with us. Don't forget. Hi, Don.
Thank
You're muted.
you.
I can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm sorry, I was cooking the whole time, so y'all entertained me while I was cooking dinner.
Oh, good. I
Anybody
see.
want mashed potatoes? I'm just kidding.
But truthfully, I that sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. See y'all next time.